Well, let's get started. So we've got, I think the last Facebook Live, we did some collaging. Remember, we did it on the watercolor paper, I think. Remember last, yeah, I was doing it on this hot pressed watercolor paper. And what was great is all I did was trim down the edges just a little bit, and I finished with a little bit with a stamp pad, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I put it on the Shikishi board, and I really love this now. It's not finished yet. I might do something else with it, but what's great about Shikishi board is it has this nice foil border that actually is resistant to paints, and I'll explain that in a second. But it's really a great way to just take a collage to the next level, take it way to the next level. So we're going to do some fun little quick things, but let me just show you kind of what we have available now. And these are nice little bite-sized shikishis, and they're meant for like Phoebe mentioned, let's see, what do you call those? Autographs, greetings, different things in Japan. These were intended for, and a lot of times I've seen origami done on it. It's just really, or mounted on it actually. And these are really nice. They come, the little one, which I think is so much fun. It's a little under 3 inches, and it comes in a pack of 5. So you get these 5 little luscious paintable pieces. And if you're a little nervous about painting on them, or if you make a boo-boo, let's say, oops, I painted on it, it doesn't look good, you can do what we're going to do next, is that's collage over it. So, by all means, practice painting on these or drawing on them. It's really fun. Now, like I mentioned, the foil on this is water resistant. So let's say you paint on it. You can just wipe off the edge very gently, not to rub the surface of the paper, because the paper is actually type of, it's a Hosho paper. Oh no, this is gazin that's been mounted onto the cardboard. So there's a layer of paper and then a piece of acid-free cardboard, and then it's mounted onto this surface and wrapped in foil. I don't know how they make it. It's a secret, but anyway, it's pretty cool. So you've got a little 3-inch, and you've also got a 5x7. And this set is you basically get 3 different surfaces. You get a really nice Hosho that's, I think it's, no, Torinoko. I don't remember which one's which, but the Gassen is the one with a little bit of a texture to it. And maybe if you can tell me, Phoebe, is the Torinoko the white or is it the yellow?
The Torinoko's the yellow, and then the Hosho is the smooth white.
Thank you. Thank you. I always get it messed up. But anyway, these are mounted again, like I said, on a very sturdy cardboard, or kind of like mat board. And then it's lined in this beautiful, delicate foil. And that is definitely, you can wipe off the edges really easy. And I'll show you how I did that. Like in actually, these pieces, I sprayed with alcohol inks. I know, I think they were Distress, some ink anyway. It was a water-based ink. I think this is the Distress inks from Tim Holtz or from Ranger. And I sprayed it and it just went all over the sides, but all I did was to take a tissue while it was still wet and wiped it off. And I got these nice backgrounds, really quick and easy backgrounds. And here's one I really like too. So it just makes it a nice background. So you can like have a session where you spray them in advance, and then you can come back later and do either some collages on it or do other things. But so just to let you know, yes, you can spray. I wouldn't really brush vigorously because the paper is delicate and will kind of lift as you get it wet. So with the sprays, it's no problem. You can just let it soak in and it comes out really gorgeous. So those I prepared ahead of time. And one thing that I did that was a really quick and easy collage is I took if you remember, the collages from the week from last week. I think I did these last week. I mounted this onto one that was already sprayed. So ta-da, it's already done. I've got a piece that I can put on my wall if I want. Now I'm going to do a series. So I love this one. And actually this one's a little smaller, so it's not really appropriate, but I'm going to do it anyway. What I did was I just take this, and I think that goes really well with that. And that was something I'd already pre-done. I believe that was our last session. And you could take some glue, simple. And the only thing is maybe if you're worried about centering something, I'm kind of floating it on there. I'm hoping that I can get it on the first try because the paper will lift on the Shikishi board if I'm not, if I don't put it down pretty much where I want it. It's not going to move around. If I did it with Nori paste, that'd be I could do it. But this one I just wanted to lay straight on, and I'm going to do my best at centering it as best I can. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be on there. So I think I got it, and I can kind of reposition it until it's the way I like it. And now I'm just going to really press. And you could use like another board, let's say maybe in one of these, and really kind of get that pressed onto the paper or onto that. And there it is. I did it. It's already done. Piece of art that I could use for versus, like I said, they don't match. But I love that. I think that's a really fun way to just kind of mount your collages. If you have smaller collages onto the 5x7s. And what I'm going to do with this one is I need to weigh that down under something. I'll just go ahead and sit it on a table and weigh it down. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is a fun way to take, let's say you have one of these, like I did these earlier this week. Some really fun little collages. These were for over the holidays. And look at these, make a nice little grouping. So if you want to do a grouping, you can actually do a series of collages on your boards, and then you can just put them in a little group. So they're little, but they can make something really nice. So this would make an 8x8, and then there are frames out there on the market that are 8x8, or no, 6x6. Sorry about that. The 6x6 frame is a very common size, and so I'd mount this onto a backing, a 6x6 backing, and you've got this really interesting kind of thing going. And I not necessarily would use these, but it's a series. You can take existing collages that you have that you'd like to just to cut down, and as soon as you mount them on the board, you get this really nice border that just really pops. And this one, like I said, all I did was to take a piece of my collage origami. I just cut it out a little smaller than the Shikishi. I glued it on and then stuck a focal point on, and that's it. Now, the one that I really enjoy doing, and I'm going to show you how I did them today, are these. Oh, hi, Julie. Thank you. And Lynn's here. I'm so glad you're here. Another one I did to this week in prep for our get together today were these little collages that are kind of going off the Shikishi board. So they're kind of fun. They've got a little bit more going on than just a flat single layer of collage. And what I did, of course, is, I love finishing the backs of things. So I finished the backs. And this is just a nice little, you could give this and put it in an envelope, like a little square envelope, or create an envelope. And you could mail this to someone. And what a nice card. Or it could be in a pocket. I actually have an idea to just make a larger pocket, slide that in. And then this becomes just a little something that someone can really love. Now, if you wanted to, you can even take magnets, little small, super strong magnets. And I think I've got some in my stash here, and I'm kind of find them. They're somewhere. Well, I think these are it. This little bitty, ooh, you don't want my razors. Oh, there's blades under there. I don't want to cut myself. Camera. But these little tiny little bitty magnet, these kind of itty bitty things. Here, if I can just grab it without cutting myself with the blades that just caught onto that. So if you just take a little tiny bar magnet or just a little disc and glue it onto the top or the center of your little shikishi, or put it on both ends, you can actually make a really nice something to put on your fridge that's reversible. So, if you put it on there, you can put that on your fridge. If you like fridge magnets, I love them. And then when it comes off, there's a message underneath. So that's just an idea. If you'd like to try just doing something like that. But I'm going to show you how I did these. And this one I did on I did like a master. Actually, this is just a piece of paper, piece of this paper I cut down to 6x4. And then I did some doodling on top just to change it up a little. And I created this little collage. So I'm going to show you how I did these and kind of give you hopefully some creative ideas using this. Papers, using the collage origami papers, and just in general, making collages on the Shikishi board. So what I did with this is actually a master sheet. And I did this, it's a little small master sheet that I created on a piece of Bristol. And I'm going to do it on a piece of, I do the same thing on this piece here. I'm just going to grab a little piece of paper to put underneath so I can do this. And I'm going to take, let's scooch that out of the way. I'm going to get a little paper cutter. And I'm just going to grab actually some of my papers. And you have, if you have decorative papers at home, whatever you've got, I'm just going to look for some papers that will kind of work together. And let's get some warm tones. Maybe this one and scraps here and there. I love that piece. And maybe this one. Okay, so just grab some papers that you have. And here's even a piece that I doodled on because I was making sure my pen, wanted my pen to work. It's a little paint pen. Some of those are coming off, but it's kind of nice. I was able to doodle on top of the origami paper and I'm creating a new design altogether. So that's fun too. So you can take some papers and just kind of cut them up in little slices if you want. Just, nothing has to be perfectly measured out or anything. I'm just going to kind of, this time I'm doing cuts rather than tearing my paper, but I'm just going to try doing a few little slices here and there. And I'm going to just go ahead and start pasting onto my master board. Ooh, I like this little blue section. It's funny when you cut down the origami papers, it changes everything. When you just take a little slice of one, all of a sudden I have this bit of like collage stuff. Oh, stuff I can doodle on. I could see doodling on that, which I'm going to show you. So I've cut it down at least a little bit. And I'm going to take my larger piece of paper here, and I'm going to just start gluing. Today I'm going to use glue stick, but the last time I did this with nori paste and it was great, but it made, it took a while to dry. So I'm going to just do this real quick with glue sticks. If you don't mind, Phoebe. I know that would probably rather see me doing it with nori. It would be interesting, something I thought I'd try. This nori paste has never been used. Really interesting to mix, which I've never done, is to mix a little nori with the glue stick. Might change things up. Or let's do this, mix a little of this white glue with the nori and just see what we come up with. The reason, I'm doing this is I'm just going to try something that I haven't tried before. And with the white glue, you get a lot more tack. And with the nori, you get repositionable time. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my nori and I'm going to kind of brush it on with the white glue that you just saw me do. You saw the white glue on there, going on there, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to mix that up a little bit. I'm just doing it on top of the paper right now, but I just stuck a little bit, kind of a blend of the nori and the white. I think that's going to make a nice sticky surface. I'm just going to put a little bit of paper and I'm just going to stick it right on. And I'm just going to put it right over the whole thing, wherever I had the glue. There we go, like that. And it doesn't matter that I'm going outside the edge. And it really is nice. I'm going to do that again. I think I might just kind of do a mix up of the two. See what happens. There we go. Just a little bit. This thing is not coming through the tip very well. I'm going to just sort of blend it. And it's okay if I go over the top of the paper a little of the last sheet that I put on. And I'm going to take a little bit of this. Oh, what color do I want? And you can see it's lifting a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to stick a little bit of that and some white glue. So I'm not oversaturating it with either one. And I'm using a nice little brush here to make this happen. I'm going to just kind of put this right in the middle. So I'm just going to bring that up and see what I've got room with nori. I'm able to just move this paper around and I can actually lay it down. And then if you see this, now try this with white glue. You won't be able to move it like that. So I'm going to scooch that right up to the very seam of that. That looks good. A little bit of a little seam. And now it's laying down nice. I'm going to put a little bit of white glue under this. This might be an unconventional way to collage, but I just wanted to try it. And I love it. I think it's going to work out great. I'm going to take a bit of this paper I'm just going to put a little bit of of my mixture, white glue and nori together. So it's not too wet, but I do have that repositionable time. That little bit of time that I can just kind of get that paper on there and then move it until it's lined up just the way I want it to line up on the edges. Love it. Same thing. I'm going to just do a quick and dirty master collage using the nori and that together. White glue and nori. I'm going to just take a little bit of another paper, maybe this red. Just kind of go to the edge, kind of move it around. Oh, maybe I'll just scooch it all the way down here. I like this. I'm able to just kind of position it. And then I'm going to put a little piece of paper on kind of in between. And this time I'm going to cut it with a pair of scissors. Just a little, like a little sort of filler piece because there's that white showing. And this time I'm going to just glue the back, very light amount of glue. But this is just nori by itself though. That's fine too, because I don't have a huge sheet that I'm trying to do. Just gonna glue it right there. So it just kind of fills in a little space there. And I have one little, and as you can see, it's wrinkling a little bit, but it will flatten out when in time. And it just give it a little bit of time and it should just flatten out fine. I'm going to take this piece. This looks like it just sort of wants to be there. And I'm going to do the same. Last but not least, and I'll probably put a little nori over this. Okay, so I'm making like this master sheet. And I'm going to take this part, I'm just going to put it right over there. And if there's any places, there we go, I can scooch that in like this. And this, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right on the edge here. So it will stay there. Now there we go. Now I just did a quick master sheet. And best thing to do is when you do that, you take you got the paper, and you want to just lay something on top. And what you want to do is just really take it and burnish it as much as you can. Get all those little wrinkles out. Let's scooch that out of the way. Move that out of the way. So got that. All the little bits that I kind of just do this because I want to smooth out any areas that might have a little glue. And of course, yes, there was some. And now that I have that ready, I could wait for it to dry completely and then trim the edges, but I'm going to just show you the next quick step. I'm going to take this off of my deli paper, and it's nice and wet because I didn't use the glue sticks this time. That's okay. I'm going to just trim the edges to that 5x7 place, right to the edge of my watercolor paper. The hot press watercolor paper works the best. And then we'll see what it looks like. If we need to add more stuff, you can add layers of paint or using a marker. You could do that after you look at it. And if it looks like it has enough high contrast, or if it doesn't, you can just play with it. But this is just a really great way to get some paint or some color down quickly, and then we can go from there. All right, so there, just want you to see it. I'm going to trim it off. That looks pretty good. I kind of like it, just like that. So there it is. I'm just going to move these little pieces out of the way. And now we have a master sheet. Something that needs to dry, though, before we would go to the next step. There it is. So that's how you would kind of get your collages ready or get your pieces ready. Now, I do have one that I've already done, so I'm going to cut that one down. But so this one's been dried. It's a little bigger, but I'll move this over into another spot. Now, I need my little cutter to do this next thing. I'm going to first do the little piece, the little shikishi. Now, if I measure it, when you measure the thing, it's a little, like I said, it's a little under 3 inches, but I'm going to measure the white, the piece of paper that's inside the gold. So it's really right at 2 7/8 exactly. 2 7/8 square. It's actually not, it's a little different. It looks like it's 2 7/8 on one side and a little bit less than that on the other. So I'm going to go a little less than 2 7/8. I'm going to trim one of these off. So 2 7/8. I'm gonna go just a little under because that's what it looked like it needed. So trim, and then I'm gonna take a piece and go under that. 2 7/8. It's gonna be just a hair under. And I could make several of these cards. In fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. So I've got this one. And you can kind of just keep these little pieces because these can be used for other things. I'm going to show you that too. There we go, a little bit under 7 7/8, another little strip. Oh, that's the same side. Okay, so I've got a couple of these ready. So this is how you can make a series. It makes it really fun if you want to do a series. Want to see how everybody's doing? Oh, you got them in your cart? That's Susie, that's great. So here's what you want to do is check it before you make the next decision. So to see how it fits just perfectly right on there. And the reason I'm collaging on a board rather than on here, then it's difficult to get this edge. So that's why I do the board first. So once you've kind of picked a couple of, let's see, I like that one too. So I'm going to just make sure they fit, and they do. So I'm going to do 2 of them, a series of 2. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, well, let's try, I'm going to do a little edge first. I think it's fun when you take these little edges and kind of finish them off. These little borders. I think this idea from, I remember Tim Holtz from years ago. Years ago, he made these edges. And I don't know if anybody else did it, but it comes from the stamping world. And I just think it's fantastic because it really does give those edges a nice finish. Plus it gets rid of the white edge that's on the paper. And I'm using, because I'm using 100% cotton paper, I'm using acid-free origami paper, or collage paper. And my Shikishi is also acid-free. So I have something that's archival. It's going to last a long, long time. So if if you're someone who likes to make things and give them away or sell them, they won't fade over time unless you put them out in the direct sun. Of course, I don't know anything that doesn't fade, eventually when it's in the sun. Everything fades. All right, so there we go. Got that nice little border. And this is the time if you wanted to take little pieces, if you wanted to draw over them or layer over them, you could, but I think I want to do the next level first, and then I'll show you what I'll do next. So I got these little pieces, and I'm going to take this and use this white glue. Hopefully I can get some of it out. Get that out. Let's see. Hopefully I can do it. Now I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to put it on the edges, kind of going on the edge. Oh boy, there, it's not going up fast enough. And I just want it to cover the whole back, going all the way to the edges with the white glue. And really, white glue is going to be your PVA, or white glue is going to be your best because it's going to hold really well. And you want that for this part. Now, the thicker you make the glue, the more time you have to move it around on the Shikishi. There's no right or wrong at this point. I'm just putting it on as long as it's centered on my board, and I can kind of move it, but once it's on there, it's not going anywhere. So have it, pretty much the first time you lay it down. Oops, I do see the white showing, and I don't think I can move it. I may be able to move it a little. That's because I didn't get the edge with the ink. All right, so that's one. And we'll do the second one. Oops, there's a lot of glue there. Probably more than it should have. It's okay. And we'll just get that all covered. And now put it on, doesn't matter which direction because we don't have an up or down yet. And just has to be centered onto that white paper surface. And it looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a little bit of showing, but it's not too bad. We're not looking for perfection here, right? We can't do that. Perfection is not attainable. All right, so now what I would do normally is I would press these until the glue is completely dry, but since I'm going to show you the whole process, I'm going to do this. Yes, in the paper, and I just want to show you, I know that Phoebe's answering questions, but in the question is, yes, hot pressed 5x7. It's perfect for creating on these Shikishis because it's the exact size you need. Now you will need to trim it down a little to mount it on the Shikishi, but it works out really well. Okay, next step. So now I have my base, and these are a base. Looks pretty good on its own. This one might need a little highlight. What I did was I found these cute little things. These are like little, I don't even know what they're called. They're like little cutouts of people, vintage cutouts. I think that one looks pretty good. And I love these because, and these are Tim Holtz, I think Ranger, no, let's see who makes them. It's made by it's the Tim Holtz Idea-Ology line. So I've got the little butterfly wings or their little transparent wings. I also have the small talk, these little things, if you have things like that. And then these little cutouts, I forgot what, but it comes from the collection.
Randall says it's maybe the Ancestors pack.
I think it might be, yes, and it's the thinner cardboard. There's some that is really thick. This is more like pegboard, thinner. So, and it's a little smaller than the other one. So yes, I like these because they're thick enough. So if you make them a little bit bigger, that's okay that it goes over and the edges. I think that looks really cool. Now this one is probably too big, but you can just kind of pick from the collection. I love this one, this little cute little girl here, which I think is adorable. And then this little girl's a little older. I'm gonna have to position her somewhere, like maybe over here, because I like that little white section. And I might just position her right there and maybe position this one over on the left side. She's cute. Kind of reminds me of your daughter, like when your daughter was little. I mean, she's still little, but
Oh, yeah, I see.
anyways. Yeah, it's cute. Okay, so now what I've got is I'm going to do a little quick collage here. I've actually pre-folded these hearts, and I know you've seen me fold these hearts before. I don't think I'm going to do one on this one. I'm just going to do one on this one. But I like to take the wings, and I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a thing here. It's kind of fun. I'm going to take these. I think these wings look better on this girl here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now these come in either two, you get the two wings or you get the whole wing. I don't know why they do the halves, but anyway, I'm just going to stick them on and I'm going to just put them on and then I'll position them when I turn it over because I've got a little time. Of course, we're just going to do it like that. And I'm going to just kind of turn it over. And then once I know that, whoops, that didn't work. Here, I'll just do this. So they're not sticky yet until I've got to really kind of push it down. So I'm going to do, I don't want my wings to be wonky here. So I'm just going to kind of move them around like so. I think that looks okay. And then wipe off the extra glue. Now, if you don't like the shiny wings, which I kind of don't, I mean, I think if I had more time, I would take some matte medium and just cover all these wings. But some people might like the shiny, so whatever your preference is. But I've got the wings on. And I got a little excess glue on this side, so I'm going to wipe that off. And there it is. She's just so cute like that. And now that that's on, I'm going to look for a saying, for some kind of a thing that says something. I'm not sure yet. Let's see. This is always a fun part. This is kind of like in my creative process. I really love to look at an image, look at something like that tells maybe a story, and these words. Then I like try to find something, a phrase or something that kind of works with this. So, and it needs to be not too big because I've got this really, here we go, I love this one. Be in love with your life. There we go. That's a good one. I'm going to take that. Oh, I like with brave wings she flies. See how it all kind of comes together? You just make a story up. Here we go. You just find be inspired by what you're creating, and then here it is. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I've got my little saying, and I've got the little heart, and I'm going to put on this, instead of gluing it, I'm going to do something really fast. I'm going to take this heart and I'm going to kind of position it, like how would I position it there? Like maybe she'll be holding the heart right at her, right here. Or I could bring it down so she's holding it. Yeah, maybe that. And then I'm going to take a pair, just a little staple, and I'm going to go right in the center of that. Oops, I did it on the wrong side. Okay, Karen, I just did it on the wrong side. What I meant to do. You know, okay, here's where you get to see me doing my reverse oopsie. Sometimes you got to go oops. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to put that staple on this side of the card, and instead I put it on this side. So I'm going to just take it out. Let's see if I can pull this off. You can go back if you go oops. There's a way to fix it. All right, so I'm going to take that out. I kind of didn't want that hole in there, but let's see if I can cover it up. I can always put another heart there. Can always fold another one. All right, which we might get a demo on how to fold a heart. So it did disappear. Yep, I don't have a hole in there. Those staples are really tiny. So that's the good news. So I'm going to just take this and move this. All right, back to what I was going to do. All right, I'm going to staple this time. I'm going to put the staple on this side of the heart. So I'm kind of taking it. I'm going to just open it up. You see that I want that opening. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to try to get it inside. Except you know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm doing a total Karen thing here. Goofball. Total making I'm forgetting what I was stapling it to. I'm going to try it again. This time, there we go. I stapled it to the girl. Yay. And now the heart has a nice opening still. And that's why I love this. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it in. And I'm just going to kind of do it like you would like a piece of what do you call it? In a fortune cookie, you put something inside. Now, this one is going to need, I think it'd be fun to add a little bit of this dimensional stuff, just to give it a little, make it a little more contrast. That doesn't show on that side, but I'm doing it anyway. And this already has some adhesive on it, but I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to cut this down too. I'm going to take my scissors, I can find some buried in my mess here. And on the end, that's where this side, I want this one. That. All right. I'm just going to finish that off so that looks like it's meant to be. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in here, but I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that just to reinforce and strengthen that one, just this little part, not much. There, just a little touch of glue. And I'm going to put it right in here. And I don't want it, there we are, like that. Now that is going to stick just fine. I want it to be up a little, like a little dimensional. I don't want it to be smacked glued down onto that yet. I've got my cute little cluster of this little adorable girl. And now I'm going to put her on, and I want to leave some of it off of the page and some of it on. And I've kind of got that word right over. Now let's just see. My glue's not working. Let's just get that stuff going again. Sometimes it dries out really fast. I'm just going to put a little bit on here, and it doesn't need to be a lot because it's not happening here. It doesn't need to be a lot because that is a tag board and it isn't going to wrinkle. It just should be enough to just stick it on there. Okay. I'll put this away for a second. And now I have this adorable little assemblage on top, and I could line it up, which I think would look really cute, is lining it up with kind of that white area. Just kind of, maybe not. I'm just going to move it around until it looks the way I want it to look. And I think that looks pretty good. And that's it on that one. Now, I love that. I think it's a fun little cluster collage. If I wanted to turn, I can actually, this one, while it's still, oh, it's not going to let me. Got a little time to reposition it, but not a lot. I kind of wanted to make it go straight across. There we go. There, I fixed it. Yay. So there it is. We've got a nice little cluster there that's going to kind of go with that other one that I had. I'll stick that over here. And this one is a really cute one. And this one needs just a little wings, I think. She's just going to have little wings like so, because this is such a pretty, it's really a pretty nice, just on its own. I like that. You could lift it if you wanted to lift these up and have them even more three-dimensional. you could put that, oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna find it in my stash. If you have foam tape or something that can kind of lift a little bit, like, this 3M tape. I'll first put the little wings on the back first. I'll put them on, I'll just glue her back side here just to get enough to really hold that. Double stick tape would probably be better than the glue. What I like some double-sided tape would work a little quicker than this. I'm just gonna put that on her back. Now she's looking cute. I just love these. So cute. And now I have that. And so I'm going to take a piece of this. This is that double-sided tape, and it's going to lift it up a little bit. And I'm going to just put it on like some areas of this. If you have never done this before, it's so much fun. I don't really know, though. I have to kind of think about where I'm going to place this because I don't want the tape sticking out. It's pretty much the whole thing. So I'm going to do maybe this little section here, like so. And that's raising it just a little. There's actually some other tapes that will raise it a great deal more, like, foam tapes. This is not a foam tape. This is more like I don't know, it's like a emblem or tape for cars, I think. I hope I didn't go too far on that top there. Probably did. But now I'm going to take this off. I'm hoping. Oops, I got glue oozing out of the sides. This is called Messy Collage today. I was hoping it'd be clean, but no, never. Collage is never clean. It's always kind of chaotic until all the little bits and pieces come together. And of course, trying to get the liner off of this is always a challenge if you don't have fingernails. Got just enough nail to get that lifted off. This is really strong tape, so once it's down, it's not moving. Now I have to decide where I want this to be before I lay it down. I'm just going to do it right there. I think that where her feet, if you can see that little space there, it just looks perfect. Where her feet are, I just might have it sit right there and then lay it down. And I've got this nice little raised area here. And I see that the white glue is totally messed it up. So I'm going to try, not mess it up terribly. I'm just going to do a little thing. Let's see if we can do this. I've got a little baby wipe. And just ever so gently, I'm going to try to clean that off without disturbing the image on top of that, of the cutout, the little girl. And it looks like I got it, pretty much. Yep, got it all cleaned up. And I'm just going to wipe that off just to make sure it doesn't sit on there for very long. So there it is. Got that cute little thing. So the little layering gives it a little different feel to it. Now, one thing that I've been playing with is the Usugami. And I thought it'd be fun to look for a word. Now I've got these, I stamped these on earlier today, and I thought it'd be fun to add a word to this. And I think I'm going to use this word right here. And I'm just gonna, this is on the Usugami paper. If you don't know about our Usugami paper, oh, you're gonna love it. It's great for collaging, which is what I'm going to do. And layering. It's the great as a top layer, but that is where I want to put it. And I kind of won't, I don't know how it's going to go if I don't put something white behind it. So, or light, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on there. I'm going to use a little matte medium this time. I'm going to have to use a very small amount of matte medium. Just going to paint it right on to that space there. I'm going to grab a little brush. This is a actually pretty big brush actually for this, but just kind of grabbing what I have in my stash here. I'm just putting enough, just a little bit. Could have done this before I mounted it onto the card, to the Shikishi, but I want you to see how cool this is. So if I put it on, and I'm going to just kind of lay it there, and I think that's where it's going to go. And I'm just going to put it on and see what it did. It just disappears. It's almost yeah, it's really disappeared. Now let's try something thought it'd be fun to try. So I'm going to put a little bit of matte medium on these wings because I just was telling you earlier, I don't really like the shininess so much. I'm just going to just paint on just a little, very, very thin coat of the matte medium onto the stuff. And I'm seeing already, oh yeah, and I'm going to put it on her too. And this is going to make it look more unified, I think, if I do that. But you could put iridescent paint behind those wings. That would look really cool too. There's so many ways that you can do this, but just a little, for me, I'm just going to make a one unified piece by a little bit of matte medium on that without, you know, overdoing it, but just enough to take that shine down a little bit. Yep. See how it looks better already, I think. And this little word kind of just disappeared right into the paper. Very, very subtle. If I could have done, I think with this one, I'll show you one that I did earlier where I took some white acrylic paint and I put the white acrylic paint down. Then I put the word over it. It did pop a little bit better. But I love this, taking down that shine. This to me looks just a little bit classier. And then what I like to do is take the back. If you have, let's see, where is it? I know I cut one down somewhere. You can put another piece of paper. You could put anything. Or you can collage on the back, have just a brand new collage on the back. But this one, of course, it's still wet on the front. But I'll letter on it first, and then I'll glue it onto the back. So then I have my finished piece. But it's basically cutting the same size, and basically getting that on the, doing the calligraphy first, or the handwriting, or the stamping, or whatever you're going to do. Or you can even take a quotes from a magazine page. I think this would be fun. This is my friend Robin. She made this. She made these crane stamp carvings for me, and I thought they were so cool. And one thing that's cool about this is the Usugami. You can see, this is what I wanted to bring up. Let's say I really want this crane. I really like this little one right here. I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm going to show you something that's kind of nice about this. Because the Usugami accepts get a smaller pair of scissors for this. I'm going to just trim it kind of to the edge, only because not that close. I don't need to get that close, but I just want to kind of trim off the excess paper. And I have kind of a nice angular crane going in here like that. And kind of like, I think it'd be kind of cool. Maybe, oh, on the brave wings she flies. That would be cool. Right, maybe under there. So I could actually glue this on, but if I wanted the crane to go a different direction, I can turn it over and I'm going to get the same concentration. So it really gets you a double-sided image, which I really like. I think that would look neat right there. So I'm going to do it. I'm just going to mount it right on there with my a little bit here. I'm going to rinse my brush out and dry, and just take a paper towel, get all that water off. And I'm going to go ahead and do exactly that. Just turning that over, and I'm going to just do it underneath. I know this is kind of not normal because I did the embellishment afterwards, but I just want to show you, you've got options. And I could cut this off, but I'm going to try to get it in there. I'm kind of winging it here, ladies and gentlemen, which is what I do, winging it. So we're going to go in here and see if I can get this in here. Maybe I will. Yep, looks like I will. And I'm going to try to lift these wings up and get it underneath. Yes, I did. And now I'll just kind of go on try to get that paper to really, the edges of that paper to kind of disappear onto this collage surface. Here we go. And I got it. So the crane's on there, and it will start to disappear as it dries. I got a little image on there that I was hoping to get. And then if it's a little too thick, you can just kind of gently, not too hard, but rub the glue off. And maybe even take a little bit of paper and just kind of get that wing so it's not saturated with stuff. There we go. I love that. So the little crane's showing up really nice. And think that really works. Now, you could also, as you're working on it, you could build some, this one's kind of nice. If you think that it's too dark, you can add contrast, you can add highlights, you could do different things to maybe just kind of brighten up your collage. And I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to use this just to kind of start, just because it's fun to just show you that you can create line, you can create more texture and line on your collage papers that you have that come in the origami, you know, the origami collage papers or the painted papers. And you can just, I'm going to just use that as my tester, my pen tester. Sometimes these pens just take a little bit of practice. Let's just see what we can get out of this. But I'm just doing some, just kind of getting the pen so that it's used to being written on. But look, I've got something really different. Now I'm going to do this, now that I've kind of seasoned it, I'm going to make some marks on this. And these are just little white, little, I don't know, ovals. They look like little ovals. And I kind of change up the size a little bit. I don't want them to be perfect circles, perfect dots. I kind of like the unevenness of the, kind of like, they're sort of like raindrops, but they're not quite raindrops. I'm just varying the size a little bit, and then I may do one right in here. And that's all for that. That one just gives it to me, it kind of gives me some highlight that I didn't have. And you can do that on any of your pieces. So that one's fun. Now this one I could add at the end of it. I could add some matte medium because I really do like that look. I see I need to add more matte medium. So there is my quick, then I'm just going to show you this. I think this piece is not quite, it's almost dry. It's dry, but it's a little wrinkly now because it was wet and I didn't press it while it was drying. But let's say you want to do a whole piece. You're going to take my large piece. So I showed you how to do the minis. Okay, got the minis, and I'm going to take a large one. And I'm going to just see if what size this is. This is 5x7, but it looks like it needs to be trimmed just a hair. So I'm going to trim it. And the best thing to do is when you're doing this is to look and just measure across. Measure, make sure you're cutting within that where the gold foil is. It is 4 7/8 exactly across. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off 4 7/8. And I could pick whatever side I want to take. Let's see, 4 7/8. Do it like this. And I'm going to just trim off that little tiny bit and really line it up. Make sure it's really straight before you trim any edges off. I've got this little strip here. That's all I trimmed. And then the next piece is going to be 7, but I'm decide which side I want it to be. 7, let's see. So it's actually a little under. I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go 6 7/8. I'm just imagining that's what it's going to be. I didn't really measure. I should, but I didn't. Oops. This is 6 7/8, I'm guessing. And I'm just going to go ahead and trim that edge off. If it doesn't match, that's okay, because I think the edge it'll still look fine. So the next thing I need to do with this is take my little edge. And it's just a nice base. Now I can really do some things with this base. And this time I really want to get those edges nice and dark so that I should have that white showing on the edge. And then super easy. And what's nice about doing this, you can do this with other colors too. You don't have to do black. You can do a color that kind of coordinates with whatever the collage you're making. These inks come in all kinds of colors, and these inks are pigmented. If you use a dye-based ink, that will fade over time. The pigmented ones are like this, acid-free, permanent, waterproof, archival. Then you're in good shape. So this one, I'm going to check it to make sure it's lined up. And I think it's going to be fine. It may be a little bit wonky, actually. But that's all right. Yep, it's off a little bit. That's okay. I'm just going to do it. But this one, I want to reposition a little bit. And I'm going to use my Nori paste. And this is where, if you're using Nori paste, you will need to press it. And you won't be able to do You just want to put a, you won't be able to let it dry on its own. It needs to have, it needs to be pressed because it's going to want to bow. I'm using my fingers because I don't have access to a brush real close by. But it's also a way to tell you that using nori with your fingers is perfectly safe. It's not gonna, it's non-toxic, and it's great stuff. It just takes a while for it to get tacky. Now, another thing I'm gonna do is while I'm here with that, and I can leave that on there. It's not gonna dry fast because it is a slow drying paste. I can take my time, but I'm also gonna just do a little bit of this. Just for reinforcement, I'm adding a little of the white glue to the edge of my card. And I could even put a little bit on the center if it will get going. This stuff is not wanting to go anywhere. I need to unclog that tip. I'm just going to put a little bit, not much, just a little bit. And it's just enough to kind of reinforce the nori paste. And now I'm going to put it on. Now here's the beauty of nori. I couldn't do this with the white glue, but I'm moving it around and I'm going to just squish it around. I'm able to see, if you can see, I'm sliding it. And I could not do that with just white glue. It would set way too quickly. That's what I love about nori. But there's that part where you have to, at this point now, I can't just go to the next thing. I need to let that dry on there. But I'm still moving it around until I get that. Oops, see how it was off a little. It's wonky. But I'm going to try to center it the best I can on the card. Best I can. This is all I can do. And there we go, as best I can. And then I'm gonna have to dry that into under something heavy. For now, I'm gonna stick it underneath my screen. But then that is how you do that. And then you can just build. You can make your collages bigger. You can add focal points and just have lots of fun with it. So let me know if you have any questions.
I don't see any more questions, but I think this was a really inspiring one because people were asking what you were using throughout the demo, like what the papers were, the collage origami. So yeah, I think
Awesome.
people are going to be getting crafty this weekend.
Oh, really good. Yes. So just as a little thing like this, just by itself, it makes a nice first layer for your collage. Of course, it's great for folding, but this, if I wanted to add some little pieces here, like this would be fun. Let's say you stick this out in front of on your desk where you just want to play a little bit. You can do your little mark making on top of it, and that changes it up. It changes the nature. It gives more contrast if you want it. It's just another way to just kind of add. You can do little dots. You can make little, I don't know if you can see that. Here I go. I'm just going to do little like dashes on these little places where it looks like, I don't know what they are, but I'm just doing little dashes. And this could be something you can do just kind of take the collage origami or the painted paper origami and use that as the base. It's kind of like a first layer, and then you can just make little designs that are yours, and it then becomes yours from then on. The base is there for you to just kind of jumpstart your own creativity and create your own collage papers. I just think this is fun. I kind of would do this, just spend, quite a bit of time when I'm not really in the mood to make a lot of messes with collage. I can actually change up my papers. And look at that. I made this really interesting little place here. And I could do this. I could make, let's say I want to draw sort of a swirl kind of thing going on here. Spiral. A spiral is really fun to draw on these little oval things. You can do like little lines going like this, but just kind of a way to just kind of doodle on your collage paper. And then that's what I do on regular painted papers anyway. So it's kind of a nice way to kind of practice your pen strokes and to get marks that, you're just playing on a piece of paper that you're not committed to anything yet. You haven't made a piece of art out of it yet. You're just doing something that's kind of fun and you just want to see where it goes. And that's kind of what is really fun about doing this, is there's so many things you can try with that. Just try different things. Like lines and crisscrosses. And I am using a white metallic paint marker. Anything with a paint that you want to do over is going to work really well for that. So now I've got a whole new piece of paper that I could either fold, and I've changed it up quite a bit so far. I may be doing some more things, but I love doing that. Just take the papers and just go through them and just do some fun things with it. You know, they kind of sort of asking for that. Like this one here is asking for something right on here. I just feel like making little kind of blob circly dots over these. And you can kind of just create, more contrast on these papers if you want to do that. I like them on their own, but they do kind of adds more contrast when you do this. And this one here looks like it needs little crisscrosses. So you can do that and just spend maybe an hour or a little bit of time just doodling on your collage papers, and you're going to get some interesting little bits for future collages on your Shikishi or anything. And it just also keeps you in a creative flow, creative state where you're really just kind of enjoying making marks without trying to create something perfect. But that, I just love that.
Hey, Karen, could you help us with what marker that is that you're using?
This one, okay, I have a love-hate relationship with these. I've got this one. Okay, I've got two of them that I kind of go to. They're both fussy though. I wish I can find an opaque marker that was perfect and just perfectly behaved. But the most well-behaved marker is this one if you take good care of it. So the one I have is the Molotow One for All acrylic 127HS That's extra fine. Now there's a really super fine one. You don't want to get that one, but this extra fine has like a little kind of a bullet. This was nasty. It needs a little cleaning, but what's nice about these is the tips are replaceable and they are refillable. So if you start to get a clogging in yours, these have an acrylic paint that you can refill. They're made in Germany, and you have to shake them and you have to kind of get them primed every time you want to use them. And I still haven't found one. I mean, mine do pretty well. Pretty well. But they still have to be taken care of. They're still a little fussy. See how it's got that glob at the end? So just, kind of be mindful before you start drawing. But that one I love. And then this one is a nice pen. It's a similar in what do you call it? The same bullet tip. And it's got the same amount of opacity and it has a very nice flow. But if you're not careful, watch what happens. Big old spill. Okay, so you just have to never press down on your artwork with this one because the flow of paint comes out. This one is made by, oh gosh, it is made by, I don't know, East Hill Company in Japan. It's called a manga liner. So you can probably look up manga liner and you'll find it. So, but if that one is okay, and now the Posca pen, I know that I just have the thing with the Posca pen, which is also an acrylic base. The thing about it, they say it's an acrylic base, but it does bleed if you try to paint over it, and it's not as opaque as these. So, but my favorite is this one, but just have to take, give it care before you start writing with it. So I hope that answers hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I think we're good. It's 3 o'clock. That's 3 o'clock. I can't believe how fast. Oh, and to let you know, I think this one I got from Ito. So just, I think this one's from Ito. So if you can't find it, the manga liner by East Hill, then look for Ito and see if it will come up for you. And then, of course, my favorite matte medium is the golden matte medium. It's just lovely. My favorite for doing this to kind of unify your collages. And you can see the difference between this collage and that one. What a difference, I think. The left one needs to have that unification with the matte medium, I think, to really make it nice. And I missed a few spots on the wings, but it just looks better. I think it looks a lot better. So I'm hoping that you were inspired to make collages with Shikishi board as a substrate, and it is so forgiving because you've got this nice foiled edge, and really anything you put on it's gonna look amazing, whatever you decide. One thing I want to just kind of say, oops, what did I just say hello and wave? If I just wave, because I want you to see that somebody behind the camera, somebody behind the camera, and you all know me, but I just wanted to say hello. And you can see I cut my hair all off last week.
It looks good.
Cut it and bleached the heck out of it.
Oh yeah, you did. It looks great.
Yeah, it was fun. I just, you know what? Battleship Gray does not go. So I had a lot of fun doing it, and it's short, and I can always it'll grow. So, but thank you everybody for coming, and we had a great time, just enjoying, just enjoying doing this. And anything you need, anything questions you might have about this or any of other projects, feel free to put them in the comments, and also anything you want to do in the future, because we really depend on you to. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this. So.